welcome to be my guest with Mary Honan on lirmedia.tv and supporting the Samaritans, Limerick and Tipperary. And my very special guest today, oh God, if there was ever anyone special, it's Sally Houston from Western Canada. Hello, Sally Houston.
Hello, Mary Honan. How are you?
I'm grand. And you know, isn't that just gorgeous in the background?
Oh, that's a very long time ago, Mary. I think I was 21 there.
Oh, you looked at, but you know, you haven't, your face hasn't changed.
Oh, well, there you go now.
That was you, Sally.
There's a few wrinkles.
But you'd know that was you.
Oh, good. Well, that's always a plus.
How did you get involved in dancing in the first place?
I grew up out in the countryside in the north of Ireland, and I went to this little primary school that had 2 classrooms. My mum would take me there every day on the bicycle. I stood on a piece of wood that was jammed into the frame on the bicycle. And I came out one day after school, and she was there waiting for me as usual. And she said, no, you're not going back to that school tomorrow. You're going to another school because there's a lady coming there to teach Irish dancing. And you're going to learn to do Irish dancing. Well, I had no idea what Irish dancing was. Okay.
That's it.
That's it. You didn't say no, off you went. And so the next day I went to this new school, and after school the lady was there and we were all lined up, including the principal, who was a scout master, and he was there with his runners. He wanted to learn the downfall of Paris.
Oh, he wanted to start big.
Oh, big time.
For him.
So we learned dancing in the little primary school, and I just loved it. And I loved the music, and I loved the friends, and we had so many laughs. But I had the most wonderful teacher. I think she was 18 at the time. Her name was Sadie Kernigan, and she danced with a man who was also her cousin. His name was Norman Maternican, who later became Norman Maine, and did a lot of stuff in London, theatrical stuff. Peter Smith met him one time, the great Peter Smith.
Yeah, Peter was lovely, wasn't he?
Yes, and when I met Peter and told him where I was from, he knew this man. But Sadie took us through our 3s and 7s, and then she started one day, she was going to teach us a figure dance, a team dance.
Yeah.
And she got us all in a circle on the floor, and oh dear, it was a disaster. Eventually we got it, but one of the kids told her, you know, Miss, there's far too many of us on this at the same time. And the name of that dance, Mary, and John Cullinan is familiar with this, is called The Soldier's Joy.
The Soldier's Joy.
Soldier's Joy. And it's very repetitive, and you go around in a circle. If you look it up, you'll see it. And the tune was basically like diddle 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 lump dee dee diddle 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 lump dee dee. So, you know, that was our first team dance. And we thought were fabulous. So we did it at our first fesh.
We were fabulous.
Well, we didn't know anything else, right? So we did it at our first fesh, and of course it's just repeats and repeats and repeats. There's about 4 movements. The judge never rang the bell. We did it about 6 times over, and my teacher was on the floor underneath the chair. We finally bowed.
Just kept going.
We just kept on going. Yeah, yeah. We got our money's worth. Let's put it that way.
And, you moved to Canada then. When did you? At what stage did you move to Canada? Did you teach Irish dancing in Ireland at any stage?
Yes, I taught in my class. In the class, we were made teach when we turned like 14.
Okay.
We were given a class full of beginners every Saturday morning.
All the time. You
Pardon me? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
We
fabulous.
always, she would throw me out a few times now.
I can't imagine why.
But on a Saturday morning, we were there teaching the beginners. Yeah, a beginner class. That was just how it was in those days.
Yeah. And you decided what progress did you leave Ireland and go to straight to Canada, or and why did you move to Canada?
Okay, first of all, there wasn't a lot of work. My husband at that time was a custom home builder. And then we moved because work was, well, VAT was introduced, so it wasn't good for the small builder. And we moved, we tried to come to Canada and we couldn't get here. You needed to have work to come to. So then they were advertising to go to South Africa. So we went there.
Did you? You went to South Africa?
Johannesburg. We arrived in Cape Town, 1975. And we stayed there for almost 2 years. There was no dancing there at that time.
You didn't teach
and
it?
I taught Kim, my eldest daughter. I remember teaching her, for she was already dancing. So I wanted to keep it going. And I remember teaching her a slip jig, like an open slip jig we had all the time in the world to learn this. So we did this, but not quite 2 years. I couldn't stay there any longer. It was just not a good time. Apartheid was there.
Yeah, it must have been a dreadful time for it to be.
Well, it was very uncertain. There was houses going empty overnight. So anyways, we came back to Ireland and eventually came to Canada in 1978.
And you started up your dancing school there? Did you start it up?
I had got a call from somebody to say Violet Moore had told them I was there and that I could teach Irish dancing. So I had people arrive at my house and I worked in the basement, and a fash came in Calgary. I didn't know there would be a fash, but yes, there was one. But before that, I had written to Thomas Farrelly.
Okay.
I had met Thomas before. I knew him before.
He was a gentleman.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, he examined my teeth.
Gentleman, yes.
Lord,
so when I danced in the north of Ireland, we had people like, I don't know if you remember a man called George Leonard.
No, but one of my favorite judges of all times was Brendan de Glynn.
Oh yes. Well, I'll tell you about him.
Coming up against Brendan in competition, just loved it. And he was special, you know.
Well, I have a special story about him. We danced in Ballymena, which was the town closest to where I lived.
Yeah.
And so my teacher was big into figure choreography.
Yeah.
And so she decided she was going to do this dance called the Heart of Tara, or Tara's Walls, or Tara's Halls, or something. And she invited Brendan de Glynn to come to have a look at what she had done.
Yeah.
And so we all were there and on our best behavior, which was unusual.
You'd have to be Brendan.
Oh, yes. And so he had this young boy with him.
Mm.
And so he watched what we were doing and he made a couple of adjustments and he put us through it and through it and through it, and off he went. Now, many, many years later, I was judging somewhere in California, and I was telling this story to the late Ron Plummer.
Yes. Yes, yes, indeed.
And he said, Sally, I was that boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw his own son dancing on this this group that they have. There's three of them dance together. It's kind of like I suppose like David Gainey's that type of a routine. And
Yes.
he was such such loose ankles. Do you know?
Yeah.
Such loose.
Oh, his son, yes. Excuse me.
Such beautiful loose.
Oh, yeah.
In the ankles, just spectacular.
Just amazing. The other person I remember from that time was Frankie Roddy.
Oh yeah, Frankie Roddy. Well, my cousins would have danced with Tony Roddy in Tony Roddy's age group.
Yes.
And I don't know, is John, are they all the same Roddys? Are they all connected?
I honestly don't know, Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just an unusual name.
Frankie was just the most amazing person when you talked about the rubber ankles.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, he had rubber legs and ankles.
Yeah, his son has just inherited those
Yes.
looseness, and it's just so amazing. It's spellbinding to watch.
But the boys just fascinate me. The boys dancing, I just think they're just 10 feet above the ground before they start.
I know.
I love watching the boys. Yeah.
And at what stage, Sally, did you do your TC?
I think it might have been in the 80s because I was with the festivals. So I had to get permission from Thomas Farrelly to teach. And so then, there you go. That was at the Nationals this year or last year in Vancouver. Very successful national.
So glamorous in it.
Yes, yes.
Look at that on the red carpet. Your rightful home, Sally.
Pardon me?
Your rightful home on the red carpet.
Oh, no, Mary, don't get carried away.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well,
at what stage did you start TC?
Well, we came here in 1978. So I had kids at a fashion in Calgary in 1979. And I didn't know, it was my first time with kids as the official teacher. And I think Peter Smith was judging. And I know Dan Armstrong was there.
Oh, did you hear the story that Jimmy told about
that? Yes, I've laughed since. Yeah. But Dan and I met when we were 23 years old.
Yeah.
And we used to go up to Belfast to St. Mary's to watch him in competition.
Okay.
So I knew him, not personally, but I remembered him from all of that.
Dan Armstrong? I remember him coming out on the stage, and he's told us have his jacket open when he'd come to Limerick or wherever, and he'd tie the jacket on stage. And if someone was about to take his photograph, he'd stop at the music and he'd say, "Stop! He wants to take my photograph." I was a child. I still remember that. Stop! He's taking my photograph.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith's story was really good about Dan.
He thought he was having a stroke.
Yeah, it was good.
Different style in Kerry then. It was all to the ground and
Yes,
very, very
rhythm.
and very low. And Danny coming out and doing a click.
I would love to have been there. Just
Or given anything.
yeah, yeah.
You'd have paid money for to see that. Apparently, what he didn't tell you was Honor, from what I remember, Honor telling the story, threw him in the fountain in the front of the mansion house because she was teaching him, and she threw Jimmy in the fountain because of his stopping up.
Oh my!
What did I do? I thought he was getting a fit.
He was concerned for Danny.
Not a lot of people would do that nowadays.
No. Well, it's well drummed into them before they go on. Don't stop unless you hear the bell.
But how many were in your family?
Two.
Why am I calling you Patsy? I have Patsy ingrained in my head now.
Oh, that's okay. I love Patsy. We call her Grandma Patsy. We love her. She's like family. Patsy and Peter and Fidelma, they were all like family when Peter was around. Like, oh, they're just unbelievable.
But you know, we were talking about it, about how, you know, you can pick up a book, a teacher's book, and if you were stranded in Western Australia, you could send a ring Sally Houston and say, Sally, I'm near you, I'm stranded, or anybody. And you know, it's such a big organization, but yet it's so, at its very core, we all know each other.
Yeah.
Not that we haven't really sat down, you or I, and had a conversation before, other than saluting each other at majors and things like that. But you can actually talk to people as if you had known them all your life.
Yes, that's the best family there is the Irish dancing family. Yes. We all have opinions, and you know,
don't agree with each other a lot at the time. But
that's just how it is. It's all very competitive, but at the end of the day, these people are very special in my life. All of them I love. And this is the thing about the pandemic. Yeah. Oh, I miss a fash so much where you get.
Yeah, it's just amazing. You take things for granted until they're taken.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's so sad. You know, because you'd go say, now we should have been to the Nationals where you catch up with everybody. It might only be a hello, how are you, whatever. And then nothing now, just nothing. Well, it's very, very sad.
But there's have there been any positives for you out of the COVID, out of the lockdown?
I can't get to it, Mary. I'm missing everybody.
Yeah.
I'm missing everybody. Yeah.
The only thing I find, the only thing positive, to me, to be very honest with you, apart from dancing and going, I don't like being told what to do. And I think being told that you have to be locked up for so many months. If I chose to do it, that's different. But I think I was always kind of comfortable on my own, in my own company, being an only child, I suppose. But when you're told to do it, it's vastly different. But I think the Zoom interviews with everybody in dancing seems to have resonated with people, because it's giving all of our community now a chance to get to know the people that they have seen and thought they knew for many years, on the surface, but very few people would have known your life story. Do you know? They'd know you were an exceptional teacher and that you're much loved in Irish dancing, and that you know, you're everyone's friend.
No, you just do your best. But I will never forget the first time I met you.
Oh God, yeah. Hold on. I have a photograph here of it. I think yours stole the show though, Sally.
Oh, you were very, oh my God, look at you. Look. And there's Justine and her pink hair, her purple hair. Oh,
look at that.
Safe in the arms of the law on the left.
That's right. Look at you, safe in the arms of the law, and you can't see yourself on the picture behind me, but you have a big, large glass of wine. I try to reflect every bit of your personality in the photographs. Look at Sally up there with the head buried inside a beer keg.
Well, my son-in-law got this barrel and he was going to, I told you this is a true story now, Mary. And so he cut a piece out of the side of it. So he said, put your head in there and smell, because it was a wine cask. And it was as good as a drink when you put your head.
What did I know about drink? I thought it was a beer keg.
Yeah, so of course they took a picture of me with my head stuck in the barrel.
We can't not comment on the bumblebee, Sally the bumblebee. You made that costume yourself.
I did, yes.
I just find that I mean, I can't get over that. That was.
They said we had to dress up.
And Mike Milan's fish.
Wasn't that fun?
Wasn't it so funny when you saw youngsters coming out in with dummies in their mouths and nappies on, and they are diapers, and they dancing, or you could see somebody coming out and you're trying to judge, and they have padding out to here, and you're trying to see their legs, let alone judge them.
It was so much fun. And when I sat down in the chair, some of the parents in the audience had to catch the stinger at the end of my tail and pull it through the back of the chair. And you, when we arrived that night, I remember about you, we were all told to meet in the bar.
That's
so
right. That's right.
I came down and everybody was there. And of course, I go around everybody with hugs and kisses. And I remember after.
I'm surprised you were able to hug anyone in that costume.
Well, no, I wasn't in the costume at that point. But I remember after I left you, you turned to whoever was beside you and you said, "Who is that woman? She just gave me a hug and I never met her before."
I knew your face and I was trying to think who is that woman? I know her face and I just can't put a name on her. And I love your background. It's so Irish, apart from the picture above, which is not Irish, but the Celtic own design on your.
Thank you.
It's just the perfect backdrop for you.
Well, thank you so much. It's it's a nice piece. Thank you.
With your red hair and everything, you're awful Irish.
Well, now the red hair's not really red anymore, but we do our best.
We needs must, but that was an amazing costume. That really was a spectacular. I don't think the photograph does it justice at all.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I think the kids enjoyed it, and like I said, yours was. I was mesmerized by the detail on yours.
Well, I sent away for mine. I sent away for mine on. Look at that.
That's my sunflowers. I love sunflowers.
Aren't they just spectacular? I'll be able to show these actually on the actual video, clearer than they are in the background because I'm blocking them. But it's a beautiful photo of you, Sally.
Thank you. Well, I just love sunflowers. They're so happy, and of course the bees love them too.
The sunflower is the Sally flower.
Oh,
because you're always happy.
Well, you have to do what you do, Not always, Mary, but you have to put a smile on your face and carry on.
Yeah, no, you're always. I've never seen you not in a good mood. You are a sunflower. If someone was to ask you what was your flower, what would be the flower that would represent you, it would probably be the sunflower. I love poppies and I love
the wild poppies and daisies.
I love wild poppies and I love daisies. I love the simplicity of a daisy. It's just so delicate, and so I love. But I love the poppies because of their symbolism, I suppose. And I think they're very vibrant and sunflowers are, they are what they look, bright, cheerful.
The flower of Alberta, which is the province where I live, is the wild rose.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
the little pink, I think
Yeah,
they're,
yeah. My dad used to grow wild roses.
I love roses. My grandfather was a prize rose gardener. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love roses, but the little wild roses are so innocent and I just love to see them.
yeah. But Sally, tell me, when you moved to Canada, what changes have you seen in Irish dancing since you started? Because I mean, you came from festival, which we don't have down here in the southern regions of
Frida, oh my gosh. And Tony and all of us, yes. Um, and there's Mr. Christopher Ryan too.
Sally, in case anyone hasn't recognized, that's Sally as a little girl.
Yes. I think that might have been before our first feis. And we had to take a shilling into class on the Friday night because we had a musician coming in from the country so that we could get used to dancing to music because my teacher always just lilted for us. So he arrived on his bicycle with the fiddle strapped to the bar of the bicycle. And we all gave our shilling. The teacher taught for free that night so we could pay him. And the next day,
Really?
sorry?
The teacher actually physically taught for free just so the musician could
Well,
play.
so the musician would get paid for us. So the next day was the feis. This is a long time ago, you know, Mary. And the
Was it
next
commission or was it festival?
festival, yeah. And so we knew what the music would sound like. And the poor man played the fairy reel the whole day long every time we came on to the stage.
Can you imagine listening to 47 fairy reels?
Yeah, and my mom, we had confined competitions, which were confined to so many miles radius of where the town where the competition was being held. So we had that gentleman, George Leonard, was judging. I think he was big into choirs in Dublin. So he had a recall, and I was in the recalls. And then he had another recall, and I was in the second recall.
Yeah.
And my mother, unbeknownst to me, had gone up to my teacher and said to her, "Would you for God's sake tell her what she's doing wrong? He keeps bringing her back to do it again."
God help us.
It turned out I won. I had been the winner that night, but she thought he was bringing me back because I wasn't doing it right.
But Sally, for people who don't know what the difference between festival and, well, it's completely changed now, Irish dancing, it's really progressed, but from our when you and Danny Armstrong and all of them, my cousin would have been in Danny's age group as well, Brendan Gavin in Limerick and Adrian, but they would have been with O'Rourke's and then Nolan's. But what would have been around that time the difference between festival and then on commission?
Well, we wouldn't have known because we didn't have that exposure.
Yeah.
So the only one thing I can say, there was always the book. The book, the commission, the teacher's book was always in class. So we did all the teams.
Yeah.
And we did like the reels and the slip jigs. Now, the slip jigs are extremely slow by comparison.
They are very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're very elegant.
Yeah.
I think they're almost balletic.
Yes.
You know, everything is a very slow movement and they're almost stopping on the stage.
Well, yeah, I think maybe too slow. I like they don't extend the same as we do,
no,
like everything, you know. So I have to say I prefer the the commission slip
Slipjig
jigs.
is I love the slip. Always loved dancing the slipjig, and I
Yeah.
think it's a very graceful, very
Yes.
graceful dance. And I do think that there's a lot of grace in the festival. From what the little I know of festival dancing, it looks very graceful, but yeah, it is way too slow for
Yeah.
what we grew up to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love the dancing. I love to be at a fash and watch everything that's going on. And
And at what stage did you decide to change to on commission?
well, that I had to. There was nothing when I came to Western Canada. If I wanted to teach kids, I had to be a member of An Comisiún, which, as I said, Thomas Farrelly knew me from before.
Yeah,
And he said, yes, you can teach by all means on a conditional, so that when you have the opportunity to take your teachers, you can do that. So then we had the exam in Edmonton. It might have been 80, 81, I'm not sure.
yeah.
And we had,
Just about a year, maybe before I did mine in, I think it was 82, 83, my TC. So
and I was just fascinated by it all. I just thought it was great. It was like to do that.
yeah, but it's great that it's great a family kind of a, it's a great. I know everyone's very very
Competitive.
competitive and
Yeah.
that, but when the chips are down and you need people, they're there,
Yeah.
and they get you through the bad and they get you through the good times.
Yeah.
Being part
I
of.
felt very honored when I got my TC. I just thought I was the cat's pajamas. I felt that I was as good now as my teacher, and she had taught me well, and I just felt
Proud.
oh, I was, yeah. And that's not really me, but I was happy that,
Yeah.
because
No, I can understand that. I remember Maureen Toohey buying me a stamp when I passed mine with Mary Honan TCRG.
oh,
And when I passed my ADCRG exam, she bought me exactly the same stamp with
I love it.
ADCRG
I
on it.
love her. She's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And and I just and it was probably the only for my AD, because my parents were dead, but it was probably the only gift I got, and it's the most precious thing
Yeah.
that I have. This for a long time when I was judging, I used to have the stamp with me, and I'd be stamping after because she said to me, send off your signature to me, sign your name, and I signed my name, and she got it on the stamp. So every time I signed it, it was my actual signature with ADCRG on the end of it.
Yes, yes.
The
Yeah.
novelty wore
Good
out
feeling.
after a while because you were just there stamping all the time.
Yep, it's a nice feeling. It's a feeling of great accomplishment, I think.
Yeah, it's a feeling of it's a feeling of belonging. It's
Yes.
a feeling of belonging to an organization that's special, that's promoting our culture.
Yes.
And that is so good to it's there, as I say, it's there when you're in bad times and there when you're in good times. When I was in hospital for 6 weeks about 2 years ago, all the teachers in Munster got together and ran my fesh for me, which
Yes,
was
I remember.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, where else would you get
very special?
And it was, because I was worried sick, because up to a couple of days beforehand, they had no notions of letting me go home, and I wasn't home for another month afterwards. So it was the teachers all got together and said, don't worry, like Sir Jerstack, Anthony Costello, Linda, everyone.
Good bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, they all just got together and ran it, and it was I didn't have to worry. And of course, Anthony Costello said, well, it was ran better now when you weren't, when you had nothing to do with it. I said, thanks very much.
Oh, well, there you go.
Took care as long as it was run. So what big changes have you seen in the last, since you started?
Oh, well, the athleticism is amazing. The kids are just unbelievable. The stamina, the style, the elegance of their appearance. It's amazing. I mean, you just don't go to class once a week anymore.
What do you think of the costumes and the wigs?
I love it. I love it. I love the glamour and I always think when people says, about the costumes and the wigs, well, I used to have kids line up behind each other doing the rollers before the next day at the fair.
Look, I spent 20 minutes trying to fluff the hair out with hairspray. And you think it's fluffed out? No.
That's lovely, Mary.
Oh, it's like poker straight. And
no, it's lovely.
Imagine trying to put rollers into that and dance, and it's gone.
Yeah. Well, and you don't sleep the night before either, because you have no rest. But there's maybe some pain with the wigs to try and get them on and stay on, whatever. But it's a lot more convenient. The makeup, well, ballet dancers go on stage made up with the false eyelashes and the whole bit. Why should our kids look the part? They're on stage under lights, being scrutinized from head to toe. That's the one thing that you learn, to take all the criticism, you reflect it onto your life at times as well. You can use it.
Yeah, but you can't keep things staged. You can't keep things held back. We have to.
You have to get in there if you want to be seen. Why get
a good equalizer as well, Sally? It's a good equalizer because children like me with hair like me can look the same as somebody with a lovely head of hair, because when you wear the bun wig or you wear the long wig, everyone looks the same. Everyone looks as if they have a head of hair. Because the costumes, that we tried it in Munster for a while. We tried going back to a simple and taking the wigs off. And children that wore the solo costumes with the straight hair, it didn't look the same. The costumes were so ornate and the hair was so straight that they looked unfinished.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah.
Do I've been asking people, I suppose, and it seems, like I'm trying to push the idea, but I'm not. It was just something that came up from Niall O'Leary that he put up on Michael Dillon's page. And it was an interesting question about the whole subject of open platform in Festina, and what people thought about opening up all the platforms and allowing children and teachers and whatever, I suppose, to compete together as different organisations all at an open platform feis. What do you think, as someone who has come from both traditions, on Commission and from festival?
Well, I came from festival a long, long time ago. That was my background. But I've transferred to what we have now. I don't know that there would be a lot of complications to do something like that, I would think.
Yeah.
I would think. There are better people than me that could organize something like that, but I'm quite happy with what I have.
Oh, I'd never be anything else other than on Commission. No. But I think what the question was around having Festina, where you could have on Commission dancers dancing, and you could have on Cógáil dancers also dancing that weren't and in areas where, like there was only on Commission dancers, or there were in areas that there's only maybe one school where they teach Commission and one school where they teach Cógáil, and there's not enough competition. Should they be allowed to compete at a feis together, or should we still have the proviso that they stay apart? That's what Niall's question was really around, for small areas where there isn't enough competition.
Yeah, and that's a good point, but I guess the only way they'll find out is if they could try it. But
yeah, so
there might be many complications.
Patsy was saying, and so were Terry and Philip, that it would be that they would see it working best at beginners level, and find it in graded competitions, allowing anyone that's doing Irish dancing to compete on an open platform. But
Right.
you'd have to do it at beginners level,
And no
or at
champion.
graded level,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
to work.
yeah. That
Um,
might work. Yeah.
so how are you finding the lockdown now, post, or we're in the post stages, I suppose, of lockdown now. But how are you finding the
I don't like the Zoom classes, Mary.
pardon?
I don't like the Zoom classes.
Yeah. Jimmy Smith's, I said to him, Jimmy, I know the words are coming out of my mouth, but at the same time, why they're coming out, I don't know. Jimmy, what are you doing the Zoom? He can't do the Zoom classes.
Can't deal with it. Don't like it. We just had 3 classes. Like, we don't do anything for July and August. We never have. Our parents, like, kids all go away, so that's time off.
Yeah.
So we had 3 regular classes, but we split the class up for safety. And the first Zoom class, I was with Carrie, and I said, they're all behind the music. There's nobody on time.
That's it. I don't know how you can actually judge, because there's always a slight. When I'm listening to music on Zoom, they always look as if they're slightly behind.
Oh, they are, yes.
And I think
And
it's
it's not
exceptional microphones and things like that in order for everything to be with the music.
Yeah, and they're restricted in the space that they have as well. So it's just not the same. I'm not good with it.
So your children, they all went in teaching with you. Did they all go in teaching?
Yes, Kim and Carrie. Yeah.
Yeah. And that must be great, though. I mean, June Deegan teaches with her daughter as well, and I think that's great. Where else would you have an organisation that you know the same people almost from the cradle to the grave?
Yeah.
You know the same people, and you can teach, and it's not ageist. You could teach on for the rest of your life.
Mm.
Do you know? And you're teaching with your family, so your family are close at all times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I just say they're the bosses now. I'm not me anymore. But each of the 2 of them have different teaching skills. So it's nice to watch that at play. Personally, I love polishing a set. I love sets. So Kim is very good at technical. Carrie's very good at choreographing.
Oh, you have the perfect combination.
Yeah. So, it works.
Because I'm a driller. I'm somebody like when I was talking to Philip and Terry. Philip likes to drill. Terry he gets bored once they know the step. He wants to move on.
Exactly.
And he said the Zoom doesn't work for Terry, where it works perfectly for Philip, because he can watch their feet and he can work and he can get them to do it repetition. But it doesn't work at all for Terry, because he likes to move on the minute they've learned the step. Yeah. I'm a driller. I like to just keep working and working and working until I feel things, they have it, drilled into them.
Yeah, and I think, again, on Zoom, you can do that maybe for a certain period of time, but there's nothing beats just being there, like, with them doing it.
No, there's nothing will ever beat human contact.
No.
There's nothing will beat human contact. Were you festival in that photograph?
Yes. That we got new costumes, and it was the nuns in a convent in Derry embroidered them for us.
They're gorgeous, simple but beautiful. The lace work. I had something like that in a collar. We had for our class costumes with Nolan's. The collars were the same as those, but for my solo, I had three roses
Yes.
and two here and one right there. And it was just because I was tiny. I was only 4'10". I'm only 4'10" now, so I was
Mhm.
tiny. I was always the smallest in every age group. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's a bit like me, Mary.
yeah, but you know it was fine because all the taller girls were afraid of their lives in case you'd get under their feet, so they'd look down in case you were under them. Never bothered me. Just dance away.
No, you were probably a little firecracker.
I just you know, I mean, I just had no concept of being short.
No,
Just
I just wanted on the stage. I didn't care. I didn't care about the medals or the placements. Just let me up there. Let me go. Once the music started, I was away in my own world.
what was your greatest joy in dancing? Because you're a joyful person anyway, Sally. But you must have had some, you know, almost too many to mention. But
Yeah,
what
well,
was the
there was
greatest?
one that I overstepped myself, I think. I brought a Kaylee to the World Championships in UCD the year it was held there.
Yeah,
And we got recalled. So, like, we were beside ourselves. Carrie, my youngest daughter, was in that team. So they got recalled and they went and did their second dance. I don't even remember what it was now. And so Mary, they placed sixth in the World Championships. It was the first time a team from Western Canada ever
ever
placed.
placed.
From Western Canada, right?
And they would have had huge numbers then, even.
It was big. But anyways, I knew that it was only the top three that the teachers went on stage.
Yeah.
So when I were going up, I thought, you know that song Foster and Allen sings? And there's a line in it that says, missed opportunities never come twice.
Yeah,
So,
I'm trying to think of the name of the song now. Yeah. So you
yeah.
jumped up on stage. Tell me you did. Tell me
Anyways,
you did.
I go up side stage and this man was doing the announcing. And I said to him, can you make sure you say the name of the team and say that don't say we're from Canada. Say that we're from Calgary, Alberta, Western Canada. So he looked at me. I discovered later that was Mr. Paddy Lamb.
Oh, what
He
about
looked
yeah?
at me and he said exactly what I told him to say. And then he looked and he said, did I get it right? I said, you were fabulous, darling. So at that point, I took off across the stage doing 3 cartwheels.
You didn't.
I did. I did. And I remember Owen Macaulay saying, Sally, if you're coming next year, let us know and we'll have a wee trick ready as well.
But sure, you know, that was your moment of glory.
Oh, I was over the moon because our kids had done so well. Yeah.
You've loved every minute of being in
I
dance.
love it. I love dancing. I
What
love
is,
it.
I suppose, what is it about Irish dancing that has you so hooked? You know, is it the connection with home? Because no,
No. I love the people. I love the dancing. I love the music. I just love the whole thing. I love going into the fash and seeing all the little kids. Where else do you go that you see all the people there and all the kids are sitting on the floor and it's just
and everyone is safe. It's
everyone.
not a
Well,
safe
we hope they are.
environment. Well, yeah, well, you,
It's a big family event. And the older kids look after the younger kids or they look out
yeah,
for the
yeah,
kids.
but parents know. Parents are usually
Yeah.
with the children, and they're there. You know, where else would you go that you'd have 18 and 17-year-olds still with their parents at competitions?
Yeah.
For the most part, with their parents.
Yeah.
You know, at competitions where the parents know exactly where they are at weekends.
It's wonderful. Yeah, they're with them the whole weekend. The only difference I see now, when we went to a fash, my mom couldn't afford to go, so she'd give another mom money for a sandwich or something for me. And I had money for a lollipop or something along the way.
Yeah.
In those days, you went for the whole day. It was a whole day out.
Right.
Whereas now, parents want to know what time will they be dancing because they have something else planned for after that, and they need to be out and away. For us, the fash was the whole day.
Do you think that that it's almost gone? Do you think it's gone too expensive for the most part, or do you think that it's an expense that's worth it, given that your children are involved in something that's
I think
cultural and fit and healthy, and you know where they are?
I think that's a big plus, Mary. I had a grandson who did gymnastics. In fact, he was the under-9 provincial champion, my eldest daughter's son.
Okay.
And the fees for that were unbelievable.
Astronomical, yeah.
And she had a friend who was a criminal lawyer. And he told her, Kim, pay the money and it will save you on legal fees later on in life.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
You could be bailing children out, and you could have a life of misery with children because they're not focused. And I think everyone needs a focus. Everyone needs.
It doesn't have to
belonging.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be dancing, but if you can keep them involved in something, then I think that's 50% of your battle right there, because there are so many temptations for kids and so many areas where they can get lost. It's sad, really.
God, you've made a lot of friends in Irish dancing over.
Well, I just love it. I love them all. I miss them all so much. I just wish we could get together and have big hugs round the house.
And we will, and we should.
I hope you're right.
And, it's just, but where to now for Sally?
Who knows?
What's your next big plan for the school, assuming that lockdown will end pretty soon?
It's not looking good here now at the minute. We've had an increase here at the minute, but honestly, it's very uncertain, Mary. At the minute, we don't know. We just have to take it monthly, I suppose.
Wasn't it shocking that, it's probably the first year in my lifetime that I ever remember there not being a world championship.
Yeah. And such a big one that it was going to be as well.
Yes, on its 50th anniversary.
Yes, yes.
Because I competed when I competed every year at the Worlds, and it was just kind of something that you'd go up to Dublin, you'd go to the market up there, the daffodil market. Do you remember the dandelion market?
Oh,
I remember the dandelion market up near the Mansion House, and you'd go down and you'd buy all these hippie style hats, and they'd sell this fantastic jewelry, and you'd stay at the Gresham Hotel. My mother would have to share a room with her friend because the three of us, because we only afford one room.
Yeah,
we only afford one room.
You slept top to tail.
Top to tail. Oh, absolutely. I was at the bottom, and or vice versa. But it was just, it was a great experience.
Oh, of course.
It's something you'll never forget.
Never. No, it's a wonderful, I just think it's a wonderful thing to have in your life. And I hope I have many more years to enjoy it.
You absolutely will have many more years.
Right.
You said to me, I think I'll have to have a big whiskey when I go. Sally, you hadn't any problem talking.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I'm terrified. I don't like talking, but you've made it extremely easy, and thank you so very, very much.
Carrie was a great producer over there on the other side.
Well, she's left me. She's gone outside now. I'm on my own.
What time of the day is it there? 1 o'clock? Half 1? Or 2 o'clock?
10 after 3.
10 after 3. Oh, so will you ever come back to Ireland now to live? No?
No, this is my home. Yeah. I've lived here longer than I did in Ireland. Yeah, I like Canada. Yeah. I like Western Canada. Yeah.
What's
It's a
it
good
like?
place to
What's it
be.
like? I've never been to Canada.
Well, we're
I
about
have
an
a
hour.
cousin. My
Sorry.
father's first cousin was a detective in the Gendarmerie Royale de Canada. But
In Montreal.
his father moved over and joined the Royal Canadian Mounted Police from
Oh,
the UK,
very nice.
and then
Yeah.
he went into. So I never met him. He was in our house lots of times, but it was in Bunratty Castle every time he came. But Honan was his name. But yeah, so but I've always had this romantic view of Canada and the Royal Canadian. And I haven't seen a photograph of you with any of them, Sally. You never bagged yourself a Mountie.
They escaped me.
You escaped. You got the policeman, but you never got the Mountie.
You know, I got to go up on the police helicopter once.
Really? How did you manage that?
Well, they had an exercise, a police exercise, and I took a bus hostage for an hour and a half. And there was a cop on the bus with me, prompting me with each little scenario. And at one point, I had to get down on the floor and put a baseball hat and a jean jacket on. And they gave me a gun, which was like a starting pistol. So the next thing, there was a flash and a bang, and I was on my back on the floor, and this cop's on top of me with a gun in my face. Where's your gun? Where's your gun? Where's your gun? That hasn't happened to me in a long time, that would be the situation. So anyways, the bus was emptied, and we all had to go in for debriefing.
Where's your gun? Where's your gun?
Yeah. We all had to go for debriefing, and each person had to go around and give your scenario of what you had seen, you know. So when we were finished, I put my hand up, and the negotiator says, "What do you want now?" So I said, "When do I get?"
Like a scene out of Private Benjamin.
I said, like, when do I get to go up in the police helicopter for a ride? Oh, he said, well, we'll have to look into that for you.
You don't get anything from being backwards. You need
well,
to be
I just
forward.
love stuff like that, Mary. And the scenario was that I was a little old lady that used to have a home and everything, and now I had nothing. And there was guys at the back of this bus who were giving the bus driver a bad time because there was construction on the road and they wanted to get home. I had no home to go to.
Oh, I know. I'm actually.
No, this was the scenario, right?
So
then I lost it with the guys at the back of the bus because I didn't have anything and they were bitching because they couldn't get home, right? So anyways, to cut all this finished, I got a call to say I had to be at a certain place at a certain time, and they'd done a clearance check, and I was up in the helicopter for about an hour and a half. It was awesome.
Was it fabulous?
Oh, it was great.
I was never in a helicopter. I was in a small plane, a Cessna.
Yeah.
A Cessna.
Well, this was wonderful. And you had the headset where you could hear all the communications, and
they didn't give you they didn't hand over controls and tell you could
fly.
Oh no,
no. They gave me a sick bag, and they said, if we go into a tailspin, you're going to need it. I said, no. Sally, get the bag in your hand. You're going to need it. But no, it was good. I loved it.
You had a good sense of balance, the balance from the dancing.
But I was so fascinated with everything that was going on. That was, I just thought, this is great.
So you're never going to get old, Sally, and you're never going to retire.
My dad used to say, Sally, I think you should take a wee look at your birth certificate.
So Mickey Rooney said age is only an experience.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, but June Deegan said she will never, ever grow old gracefully.
Oh, no.
She said, I refuse, because I said to her, will you ever, because the first time I met June was at Stella Moore's Fesh, and Mary Kelly was judging with us, and Mary's husband had only died a few days or 2 weeks earlier. And I looked at June, and she struggled to get up on the podium to sit down because her heels were too high and her skirt was too long and she was too short. And I was the same. And neither of the two of us, we kept getting caught. And I remember looking at her and thinking, I found a soulmate. And we've become great friends since.
Lovely.
But
She's
she said to me, I am never going to grow old gracefully. I refuse to. And Terry said he thinks it'll retire him. Philip says he'll never retire because every time he retires, he ends up coming back.
Oh, they're fun. I like being with them too. Yeah.
You know, but you know, you're not going to grow old gracefully.
No, I don't plan on it, Mary. I'll probably go out with a bang.
I don't think I want to grow. Sure, look at me here with a hairband.
You're just
At my
lovely.
age. You know, I mean, you know, I just, you know.
It's only a number, Mary.
We are what we are. And I think Irish dancing, I think being involved in the arts keeps people young.
Of course it does. Because you're around young people all the time.
And you're around people who are young in
Yes.
spirit and in heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Sally Houston, it was, you know, I mean, it was immense and it was special.
Thank
Almost
you.
as special as you are.
Oh, don't be getting carried away now. Thank you so very much, Mary, for considering me. I was terrified, but you definitely put me at my ease, and I forgot. But
did you get any sleep?
Really going on here?
Did you get any sleep last night?
Actually, not too bad. I got to about 5:30 this morning, so that was very good for me.
Yeah. I was still awake at I'd say.
I know you were.
It was 7 a.m. I was still talking to you. So you can go now and you can have your glass of whiskey.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'll enjoy it.
And thank you so much, Sally.
Thank you so much, Mary. It was my pleasure and an honor to be with you.
And mine to have you on the show. Absolutely.
Thank you
very much. Thank you. God bless.
God bless.